my RoboFund family and guests. I am Laura Hart, the CEO and founder of RoboFund, and I'm here with my dear colleague and friend, Tinamarie Panyard, who runs an organization called Different Directions. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you. It's really nice to be here. I'm excited.
Good. That's great. I'm going to do a few housekeeping things,
Okay.
and then we're going to get started and learn all about different directions. So RoboFun is a place where we help kids love to learn using leading edge technologies. So we run camps, classes, homeschool classes, private lessons, birthday parties at our studio at 102nd Street and Broadway. We have winter break camp coming up in about a week and a half. And for Valentine's Day, we have a present for all of you, which is a really nice discount on summer camp. So that will be coming out on Sunday, the 13th of February for 5 days. So if you're thinking of camp, come check out what we do, robofun.org. And we do robotics, game making, coding, animation, and Minecraft and circuitry. So that is what happens at RoboFun. And Tinamarie is going to tell us all about Different Directions. So what is Different Directions?
Different Directions is a homeschool collective community center. We're located on 47th Street between 8th and 9th Avenue in the on the third floor of the Actors Temple.
Is there any way to turn that off before we go on? Excellent. All right, why don't you do that again? Because that was really distracting and I don't want that to. What is Different Directions and where are you?
We are a homeschool collective and community center. We're located on 47th Street between 8th and 9th Avenue on the third floor of the Actors Temple.
Cool. So what exactly, we're going to get back to your background in a little bit, but to start off, what is a homeschool collective and who participates and comes there?
We're a group of families, educators, artists who create academic and art-based, project-based curriculum for homeschooling students. Our teachers are some parents who have an expertise in something that as a homeschooling parent, maybe they are not working in their field. And I'm a professional storyteller, and a theater person. So my classes are based around literature, acting, social sciences. We have teachers who have PhDs in anthropology, and they teach our higher level high school social studies programs. Dads who are ex-chemistry teachers who are teaching our chemistry class. So we're parents and artists and teachers. Not all our teachers are homeschooling parents. People who believe in homeschooling, that it's an option, and it's a good option for people. And we're not sitting around our kitchen table. We're working together in a studio, and our kids do academics together, and they create plays together and dances and have lunch together and play together. It's a place for homeschoolers to get a social academic experience.
Well, that was very, very helpful and thorough. So let's back up and get to Different Directions in a minute. Tell us a little bit about yourself. The path to get here must be quite interesting. The path to becoming the operating director of Different Directions.
It is interesting. And I was thinking today, I was coming to the interview, that I feel like everything I've done in my life led me to being the operating director of Different Directions and prepared me to be the operating director of Different Directions. I am a professional storyteller. That was what I was doing before my daughter was born. I'm also a corporate writer. I worked on Wall Street for several years, traveling around, lecturing on business plans and doing procedure writing for companies on Wall Street and developing training programs. I have toured around the country doing nonviolent communication shows and theater and drama in schools. I worked for a company called Leap, Learning Through Expanded Arts Programs, for several years, and I would travel around New York City schools, and I developed storytelling programs and different what's the word I'm looking for? Assemblies for children in New York City.
That's great. That's great. So tell us a little bit about where you grew up and how did you start all of this? So you grew up in Michigan?
I grew up in Michigan.
Yeah.
I was a theater person my whole life. Like I remember when I was very tiny, I asked my aunt, Grace, can I be anything I want to be? And she said, yeah, you can be anything you want to be, Tina. And I asked my dad, can I really be anything I want to be? And my dad said, sure, you can be anything you want to be. And I said, well, I'm going to be a singer and an actress. And he's like, oh, that's so cute. And then I never changed my mind. And even though that's not what I'm doing now, it is what led me to what I'm doing now. And it's art and theater and music that drives the spirit of different directions and drives me. It is that sense of helping people through art, giving voice to people who might not have a voice, but in theater and in music, you get to have a voice.
Yep. So what are some current things going on at different directions? And if you're, well, let's start with that question and then I won't double load the question.
Well, currently, our high school students are preparing for Your Good Man, Charlie Brown. This year, I'm not directing the main stage show, which is great. I had a great time directing and writing for several years. And then last year, I wanted to step back from doing that so I could focus on being the director of different directions. So we have two amazing, talented artists, Mary Elbert and Omar Camps Cameron, who this fall, they wrote an original piece called Which Musical This One, which was amazing. And we performed to sold out houses for one whole great weekend. And this spring, we're doing Your Good Man, Charlie Brown, which is one of my favorite musicals. I did it when I was in high school and I played Sally Brown. And it was a really amazing experience. And I'm happy that these kids and my daughter get to have this experience. I might be a little too excited about it, actually. And I've kind of stepped back. I'm going more into teaching acting again, which I'm enjoying. I'm doing 3 acting classes, a master's class where we're studying women playwrights of the 20th century, mostly American women playwrights, which has been amazing experience. And I have 6 young women in the class. So that's been a lot of fun. And I'm doing an acting history class. So we're studying history through acting, and then an acting in literature class. So we're studying literature through acting. And they're all different age groups. It's high school, junior high, and elementary.
So if you're a parent, as I was if you're a parent who school isn't working for your child and you're pulling your hair out and you're trying to figure it out, would different directions be a place you'd want to learn more about? And would Fearless Homeschooling, are they offering classes for you, or offering workshops through different directions for parents at this point?
I do work with Joanna Lonan with Fearless Homeschooling. For years and years, she had homeschooling workshops at different directions. During the pandemic, we moved a lot online, and she's had a couple of workshops there. She's amazing. Definitely, I would say, talk to Joanna if you are entering into this new world of homeschooling. Another person to talk to is my partner, Erin Albert. She homeschooled 4 children into adulthood. Um, her and Joanna often work together. And Different Directions is a great source for homeschoolers, for people who are just coming out of school. Tend to like it because it's structured. Homeschool As a homeschooler, you can do whatever makes you happy to some extent.
Right.
Some people like studying at home and working out of workbooks and going and doing things outside, visiting museums or joining sports teams or doing. There's an amazing group. There used to be a great soccer group, homeschooling soccer group. There was group on the Great Hill. My daughter never did it. They did role play. I forget what it's called. So some people like to do that. Night Chia is a great thing to join because they have the monthly meetings. Parents can meet and talk. We used to have great conferences. But Different Directions offers a bit of consistent curriculum and consistent schedule that many people like, including my family. It's been an incredible community for my daughter, who's now 14, and considering, do I want to stay as a homeschooler or do I want to go to school? And her transition into school, if she goes into school, won't be that huge of a jump. There's a lot of schools out there that are similar. They're small and they're intimate, and those are schools that she's looking at. I talked about the art part of Different Directions, but we also have, I'm also a big fan of science. So we offer hard sciences, biology, chemistry, physics, theoretical physics, everyday physics. We have a really great writing program. We've had our teachers, one of our teachers, Teal James Glenn, is an award-winning author, and he's an amazing teacher. My daughter loves working with him. Biology teachers who are college teachers. So we have a great writing and science program. Our math program, we had some amazing math teachers. We have one left who is great. My daughter loves him. So yeah, if you like art, there's art. If you like science, there's science. If you like math, there's math.
So let's say I have a third grader who's no longer in school, and I'm pulling my hair out trying to figure things out. What would you have for that third grader?
We have 2 days a week that you could do a full day if you decided to do that. On Tuesdays, we do math, science, and writing. And on Thursdays, we do history and a language arts class. That's fantastic.
Okay. So basically, the classes that kids would pick happen once a week?
They do. They happen once a week.
And how long are they?
They're an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Okay, so that's pretty different than school in many ways.
It is different. Yeah. Yeah. People used to say, well, my kid, they don't concentrate very well. I think an hour and a half is too long. I said, if they don't concentrate too long, they actually need more time because they need time to daydream and wander and then come back.
Right. Excuse me. Okay, I agree with that. And I think often the kids who have trouble concentrating, or all of us, I would say me including, we need time to get there. So that often in a 45-minute class, you've just gotten there and it's all over.
Yeah. When I was teaching in schools, I would spend, half an hour of my 45 minutes getting everyone seated.
Right. Seated, focused, engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So do you think back at your childhood? I think back at my childhood. I was, here's an example. I was involved in a part of Boy Scouts of America called Explorers, which was co-ed. And we used to organize all these trips. I grew up in upstate New York. We'd go hiking in the Adirondacks, but it was a lot about learning about leadership and how to create experiences. And I think back that was a really important thing that affected what I do now, which is creating great experiences for kids. Do you have things that you think about in your childhood that, like, wow, that came from there? As we all get older, we sort of think about, where do these threads of our being come together?
Definitely. The fact that I was in theater so long, and I got to create my experiences, and I worked with amazing teachers who, they might not have been kind, but they were kind, strict, dedicated, devoted to having us do a good job, because he knew that if we did a good job, we would feel good about ourselves.
Right.
And I had an amazing teacher when I was in high school, Cole Terrell, who passed away a few years ago, and it just broke my heart. And he taught me about dedicating myself to something that was bigger than me. And that's what Different Directions is. It's something that's bigger than me. It's bigger than my family. It's an important part of my family. But it's a community of people who all have decided that this is what we are going to embark on, this journey together.
That's great. That's great. What are some of your favorite parts of your job?
I love watching the kids. Oh, I see my friend is telling me that school trips are also great at DD.
If there's anyone on here who has any questions, thank you, Teal, James, Glenn, and Lori. We were thinking of wayfinders, which gave me the idea that I may have wayfinders. Wayfinders played a big role in my own son's homeschooling, developing confidence and teamwork. And so
that was the name that I was looking for. Right. What's the favorite thing? I have so many favorite things. I love watching the kids. I love watching them grow. I love that I've worked with the same kids, some of them since they were 6 years old, and now they're 16 and 17. I love that one of my favorite teachers is a young man who just graduated from college, who I met when he was 13 years old, and now he's a man, and he's an amazing teacher.
He might be related to me.
He might be related to you. This has been an exciting year because several of my students have come back to teach, and I really am excited by that. I love creating with the kids. There's a lot of chatter about homeschooling kids. The academics is child-led, which I have some thoughts on child-led. Definitely child-inspired in my family and at Different Directions. The kids inspire us, and we as adults and facilitators and educators give them the tools to do the things that they're inspired to do. And it's challenging. I am reminded of one of my favorite groups is a group called the Event Planning Committee. And they have existed since my daughter was, I think, 10, because she would see me creating events for the teenagers, and she wanted that. So we created a group, and we would do dances and movie nights, and now they're the teenagers. And this year in the fall, they did a homecoming, which I loved. Right before everything fell apart and things were starting to relax a little bit, the kids said, what should we do? And they really wanted an in-person dance. Somebody said, we should do homecoming. Somebody else said, what is homecoming? And my daughter said, I think it has to do with sports. So they created a spirit week, and we rented a studio on 29th Street, this beautiful photography studio. And the kids made an amazing banquet of food and put together a playlist and hired a photographer. We had an alumni picnic where alumni came back and talked to the kids. They had a Frisbee tournament, which was supposed to be something else, but they're homeschoolers, so they picked up the Frisbee instead. And it was amazing. It was amazing. They had Spirit Week, and everyone dressed up, and we did it homeschool style. So if you weren't in the space, people all throughout the community would send pictures. of what they were doing wherever they were at. And it was great. The kids are inspiring.
So I want to share a couple of vignettes. Tina has known my son for now 10 years. And in our lives of compartmentalization, it's rare to have somebody like Tinamarie or like some of the teachers that he worked with when he was homeschooling that know him as he's growing up. And that sense of community, I think that, to me, that's the thread of something very, very important that you offer, is a place, a community. You know, while my son was homeschooling, I remember going to various dinners, and I think that you play a really important role of something really missing in society right now, which is an outer community. It's kind of like a church or a synagogue, but about the things that we love, which is learning and helping kids grow up. So I wanted to share that and compliment you because you do such a good job at making it a really welcoming place.
Thank you.
So for those of you out there who are thinking about this, you should just go to Different Directions website and arrange to stop by and visit, because you feel it all there. And I'll just share that a few weeks ago, I was there, and I hadn't been there in years. And I just was struck by what is Tinamarie's facility. It's 2 amazing classrooms and a few little small rooms, and it just feels happy. And while I was there, there were some kids who were writing. Tina has a newsletter, and they were writing, these were high school kids writing an article on where to take dates. And it was just so cute. And one of them said, okay, we need ideas of really boring dates. And so I was like, well, I said, this might be an interesting one, a museum. And they go, no, that's a boring date idea. I just realized how life changes as one gets older. But you see kids both inspired and in their natural state in a way that sometimes there's a tenseness that we don't want our kids to feel on a regular daily basis. And I don't think that they're feeling that at Different Directions. So you should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you. I remember that day. That was adorable.
Go ahead, Tina.
I'm sorry. Our newspaper, our student newspaper is Different Directions on the DD Compass Monthly. You can find it on our website. All of the issues are on our website.
Great. So I think I've gone through all my questions. Why don't we end by one particular thing that's you've been noticing lately that you're just really proud of, from your kids, from your teachers, from your community?
I am proud that we think of each other, and it's pretty consistent. Like today, when I wasn't feeling good and I needed to go home, and people came, and all of my parents were like, of course. And I was like, oh, it's not COVID. I've tested. They're like, we trust you, Tina. We know that you would tell us the truth. And so that's what I'm proud of. I'm proud that we trust each other, that even if we have differences, we work together, because what's more important is our children and finding common ground. Kids do that. If there is a person who maybe is not fitting in or is having a problem, the first impulse isn't to ostracize that kid or make them feel bad about themselves. The first impulse is to understand them and to figure it out. And often the kids are defending each other, saying, give them a break. If somebody is struggling, they step back. I mean, they can be loud and crazy and wily, but then when they know someone needs to be heard, they hear them. So that's what I'm most proud of our community, is people see each other.
So I think that for some people watching this who may have no experience with homeschooling, we always got the line of, is your kid being socialized enough? And that line would always make those of us who are in homeschooling more than 2 minutes practically, kind of laugh. And different directions is an example of there is plenty of socializing. Those kids are there all day long if they choose to be. They go to the park for lunch, and they're learning how to navigate with each other, which is what we want in school, in any environment for our kids.
Absolutely. I feel like we took the best parts of school and kept those, and the parts that didn't work, we put away somewhere.
That's great. I just want to end by saying that I think what I get from my experiences as a homeschool mom, a former homeschool mom, and as somebody who supports this, and by the way, I think not everyone should homeschool. I think it's a very personal decision on what works for you and your child. I was sort of forced into it by school not working. But what I see in your community and my community is kindness. And that kindness is such an important part of what we do with and for children and for everyone in the community. And thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for being a part of it.
You're more than welcome. I think we're all set. It was great talking to you. I'm going to ask my final question, which I love asking people, which hopefully I'm going to have to stop asking because it's a COVID related question, which is, okay, we made it through just about 2 years. Is there anything in your life that, you picked up, or that a hobby or something that, has helped you get through these 2 years?
Oddly enough, my life didn't change that much. I didn't slow down. I didn't sequester. I didn't, when the first thing happened, we moved immediately online. My partner was amazing, and she had our entire school online in 2 days. And I worked hard to keep us all together. All of us worked hard to keep us all together. So time for a hobby didn't really happen.
Right.
But my family did buy an RV, and that was great.
Interesting.
We did buy an RV. With the first summer, we went to my mom's for 2 months, and which I worked remotely from my mom's in Michigan. And I always wanted an RV. And Ellie goes, my husband says, let's do this. And so we did. And it has had its ups and downs, definitely. But I suppose that, and I got another cat. So we got an RV and a cat. So those were my 2 COVID acquisitions.
That's cool, because you can take the RV, with just yourself and go have a vacation and not have to have a lot of people who might infect you. So
that was one of the benefits, for sure.
That's great. Well, I want to thank you again. I want to remind everyone, go to different directions. Tina is available. If you have a question, you can email her. She will absolutely get back to you about homeschooling. I want to remind you that I am the CEO and founder of RoboFun, where we offer creative and fun classes for kids in robotics, in game making, coding, Minecraft, and animation. And I love doing my weekly heart-to-hearts. If anybody out there has an idea for somebody for me to interview, I get tremendous amount of joy for spreading the word about cool things going on in education. And different directions is definitely one of those cool things. So thanks again.
Thank you, Laura.
All right. Have a great day, and get a good nap in there and feel better.
I will. Thanks.